Hello everyone and welcome back to Timberborn. This is episode 8 on the road to 1000 beavers. In the last episode we worked on getting our power production up and running. We have some of these major windmills that are now constructed and hopefully that is going to help out with our power issue. You can see we are charging these gravity batteries up a fair bit. We also have the water wheels running, but we're going to be trying to get some power shafts set up that go all the way up here and then get some more water wheels up and running up in this section. Since we've been on the struggle bus just a little bit with some power, and so this should be a way that we can mitigate that. And back in our second district, things are looking good. We have all the buildings constructed over here, and so they're starting to produce some of their own explosives, which is definitely going to be pretty useful in the long run. They have almost finished placing all the explosives over here, although it looks like we need to get a path set up so that they can actually reach it all. And then another big thing that we covered in the last episode was getting this mine up and running. They are still in the process of getting all the materials required in order to make it, but overall they're about halfway through construction. And so that is going to be helpful because we are running a little bit low on scrap metal over here. And some of the explosives are going to be going to getting all of this lowered here. As you can see, we have a fair amount of extract that's already placed down, but we're just short on the explosives portion of the materials. Although one thing we're not short on is wood. It looks like we have almost 900. About 600 of that is in the first district of Beavers, which means that we have 300 in the second district. And so let's go ahead and work on getting these power shafts set vertically. We're going to go all the way up. And I think one thing we can do is go ahead and get the tunnel system unlocked, although it costs 2,000 science, so we'll just have to wait a little bit to get it unlocked, since that will be pretty helpful for getting underneath this whole section without having to remove a bunch of buildings. But in the meantime, the beavers can work on getting the rest of these water wheels constructed, and we still have some more to place down. And so we do have a fair amount of vacant jobs, although we also have a lot of baby beavers. So hopefully they should be growing up pretty quickly and fill in some of those jobs. And we have a fair amount of trees over here. So we are doing fantastic on wood, which is excellent news. And we have some more injured beavers over here. We do have a couple medical beds, but apparently that's not quite enough, so we can get a few more constructed. And we can also go ahead and get another house constructed, since we're running a little bit short on beavers in this district. And we'll go ahead and bump this up on the priority list since we want to get the population increase as fast as possible. And overall we have 184 occupied beds, so we're almost at the 200 threshold. I think by the end of today's episode we can go ahead and get 200 beavers. It's a good little interim goal for us. We can also get a couple smelters constructed in this second district. In fact, we have a perfect place to place one of them right here. And we are just at the 2,000 science mark, so let's go ahead and get some stairs set up down here so they can start tunneling underneath this whole area. And now we can begin the tunnel digging process. We just have to make sure we can actually see the correct level and also unlock the tunnel itself. And so the amount of unoccupied jobs in this district is on the rise. We're up to 19 now. Even though we have 19 babies, it seems that we are having some of the older beavers die off. So let's also look at seeing if we can get enough bots to start working in some of the more dangerous jobs. Although for the most part it looks like they're covered, I think it's really just the bot part factors and the bot part assemblers. Although switching these costs a whopping 10,000 science and then 5,000. So I don't know if we can do that anytime soon, unfortunately. And so we're getting pretty close to having the water wheels set up. And then once we get these last few constructed, we can go ahead and look at getting the power system connected in over here, since they're making their way underneath right now. And so then once they finish this, we can go ahead and get the power shaft set up along here. And we can actually probably get some of this constructed ahead of time. Although I will need to disconnect this path right here in order to get the vertical power shaft set up. So we'll have to wait, I guess, until they finish constructing the rest of this to do that. And the beavers of the second district finished placing all the dynamite down here, so we'll go ahead and detonate this. And they are getting pretty darn close to getting this mine constructed. It looks like we're just a little bit short on treated planks, even though we do have a few of them hanging around in here. And we are on the last few pieces of scrap metal. We do have some over here, which I think that at least some of these beavers can reach. So I guess this guy is going to be wrapping up getting this over here. We do have a fair amount of power being produced here, about 600 and 630-ish. But once we get some of these smelters up and running, we are going to need some more. I will want to get some gravity batteries set up at some point. But unfortunately we are at the bottom of the map, so it's not the best spot. We could look at getting some set up somewhere over here. Although before we do that, I think I want to go ahead and expand the water wheels, and then we can go ahead and connect them sideways and vertically over here. So we can go ahead and start laying the infrastructure over in this area. And so we have a few more water wheels set up, but we can go ahead and low prioritize all of this since it is not essential at the moment. And really want to finish, oh, looks like we did finish constructing the mine. Now we just got to go ahead and get some paths set up, and we can go ahead and throw a temporary path in over here, but we also need to lower the amount of workers and make sure we have enough beavers to actually work in here. Let's go ahead and remove some of these scavenger flags and start moving them into the mine. And since in the new update they did add it so that now it takes treated planks in order to produce scrap metal, we'll have to make sure we have enough treated plank production in this district. And so first off, let's go ahead and start unmarking some of these trees to be chopped down. Oh, we are having some flooding going on over here. Looks like I did not realize that we have some water going through this tunnel now. Let's quickly go ahead and rectify that. That is a mistake on my part. Fortunately, it looks like it's pretty localized right to the power shaft section. I think as soon as it gets plugged up, it should be fine. But we do know the tunnel is constructed now, and so let's go ahead and start getting some power shafts set up. Although this is going to be a little bit of a slow process since we can't trap any of the beavers in here, and so we'll pretty much have to go one at a time. And it seems we have a drought approaching in 3 days. Unfortunately, we haven't really added a whole lot into our power system outside of water wheels, so we're going to be relying on these large windmills and the gravity batteries once again. While we still have some extra power from the water wheels, we can actually go ahead and upgrade some of these windmills to the larger ones. So let's go ahead and do that really quickly. And one thing we can also do is get some more houses constructed over here. I know I mentioned it in the last episode, but I guess I just forgot to place some more down. And just like that, we should have the power system connected up. Looks like the water wheels are connected, so now we're producing double the power that we need, which is fantastic. At least outside of working beaver hours. We've also added in a few more windmills, and there's a few more large ones that will be set up pretty shortly. So it looks like we have a little spot underneath here. Let's go ahead and get some of these decorations unlocked and place them over here for the beaver's well-being. So we'll get a scarecrow placed down, and then we'll do a beaver statue as well. Although let's actually place a shrub in there first, since it has the smallest range. Then we can go ahead and get the scarecrow and beaver statue placed down. And so we have a fair amount of beavers that have been injured. I'm assuming that some of them are over here. Looks like we have 3 incapacitated beavers. We want to probably get some bots into this district. So let's go ahead and use the automatic migration tools. If we set a minimum of, let's say, 5 beavers in this district, then it should start pulling from this district. So we have 40 right now. But now we have 5 in this district, and if any of these bots end up falling apart, then they'll start pulling from the first district once again. Just need to make sure we have some biofuel in this district. And right off the bat, we can go ahead and throw some of the bots into these more dangerous jobs. Although these jobs are going to be paused in 0.1 days, so we'll have to go ahead and put them somewhere else. And I would love to put the bots in here, although it costs 1,000 science, and so we don't have quite enough at the moment. For now, they can go ahead and work in the builder's hut, but we can put some of these unemployed beavers in here, and then another couple into the district crossing. And it looks like we're actually running a little bit... Wait, how is this possible? Okay, looks like we have a fair amount of biofuel. I thought we were running a little bit low somehow, but I do think it's time to go ahead and get a second beaver in this. We don't want to be running short on that since that fuels all the bots. We should also get a second one up and running, and then go ahead and set this recipe to catalyst. And so it does look like the beavers and bots finished placing all the dynamite over here. And since we have a fair amount of wood, we're going to go ahead and try and get some more of this constructed fairly quickly. But let's go ahead and start lowering all of the dynamite over here. And so now we have some choices. We can continue to lower some of this area. I'll probably want to lower this all by 1, just so it's level with the rest of this, and then maybe we can get rid of some of these other areas over here. And you can see our power has dropped significantly. I believe we're only a day and a half into the drought. Although the windmills are not running at full capacity, I think they're only producing about half the power they can. But we are completely dependent on the wind for this. And just like that, they just started blowing a little bit stronger, so now we are actually charging up some power for the gravity batteries, which is fantastic. Hopefully it'll keep blowing for a while and get us a little bit more juice. And let's go ahead and turn on the second bot assembler. We have a fair amount of the bot parts that are stored up. Although now I'm thinking about it, we actually have 0 storage, so all the bot parts are just stored in the bot part factories. That is not ideal. We can squeeze a few mini storages right over here. And you can see the bots are hard at work over here while the beavers are sleeping. And thankfully we have a fair amount of wood in this district, so I don't think they should be short on any of the supplies to make this stuff. Although if we're running short on planks, we won't be able to reach everything. And oh my goodness, we have so many injured beavers. Let's see, in this first district, we only have 6 incapacitated beavers. Although we have 32 children, only 1 vacant job. Let's go ahead and unpause some of these builders' huts. And then we can also lower the priority. So these jobs are not completely needed. We'll go ahead and lower them to lowest priority. Let's check on the second district. Oh no. Look at that. We have so many incapacitated beavers. There are not enough medical beds at all. I'm guessing that they're just getting injured left and right in here. We do have over 1,000 signs, so let's go ahead and switch this to bots immediately. And then let's temporarily get a few more extra medical beds set up. And we do need to make sure we assign the priority to highest for all this, since we have a lot of stuff over here that the beavers probably are working on first. Although I think this should all be lower priority. I guess there's a few miscellaneous things that are normal. But now they'll go ahead and focus on these instead. Oh my gosh, there are so many trees over here. I guess there's really only one lumberjack flag, so he can't really do all this work on his own. And we have just blasted through our bad water stores. We're down to 75. It looks like this big one is completely emptied. So we have these few small storages that are giving us some. Let's go ahead and lower this area with some dynamite. We'll need to go ahead and get some stairs set up. But if we go ahead and super high prioritize all of this, then I think they should be able to do that before the drought is over. And so we are at a point that we have, let's see, we have 15 unemployed beavers. 4 of them are in this district. We got to figure out some jobs for them. I think at this point we should start focusing on food and well-being in the second district a little bit. So let's go ahead and get a grill set up somewhere over here. Although we could also look at getting some crops planted somewhere. We have these right here, which is really just a temporary solution. This is not going to be enough food to feed this entire colony. Over here would not be a bad candidate to get some water dumped in this area. Although this hole is pretty dang big, so we wouldn't really need to have this whole thing filled up, especially with the fluid dump. So for now, let's go ahead and get some more lumberjack flags set up over here. And then we can also get some storage set up in this area. And we can also go ahead and get a grill set up over here. This will be set to grilled potatoes. And then we can get a bakery set up as well. Looks like we're producing a fair amount of cattail flour, so we'll have them import some of it over here. And I don't actually know if we ever set up a tooth grindstone in this district. So we'll go ahead and place one down here and super high prioritize it. And they did finish constructing the levees over here. So let's see, how far do we actually want to send this? So we can go ahead and get the rest of this set up. I think this is a good size. This should be able to hold plenty of water. Are you kidding me? They can only go 2 deep? I thought they could go farther than that. Yep, the maximum depth is 2 for them. Same for the normal water pumps. The large water pump is 4. Which I'll want to get a large water pump set up over here, but you can see the depth is lower than 4 on this one. And so one thing we could do is we could incorporate a sluice somewhere over here, or maybe in this section. And so even when we get this large water pump set up, we won't be able to reach everything. So what I'm thinking we could do is we could set something up over here, and it might be genius, or it might be pretty stupid. And so the drought has officially ended. We are beginning cycle 13, and we have so many unemployed beavers in this district. We do not have enough jobs for them. Let's see if we can get another hauling post set up. And at some point I do want to get over here so we can get a mine up and running. Although at the moment we have another mine that's set up in the second district. So they are going to be producing the scrap metal. But I do want to get some permanent water collection set up over here. And so I'll want to be able to get to this area down below. And then I'll also get a large water pump or 2 set up here. And so we'll want to incorporate the zip lines, so we might go ahead and shift this one right over here, and then have a second one so that we could have one going in this direction, and then one going over here in the future. And so as they start constructing these zipline stations, we'll have one set to under here, and then we'll have one of the water pumps will be over here, and then we'll use the sluices, and we'll go ahead and utilize some of the water elevation features they have. And so we'll have it set to close above downstream depth of 0.5 or 0.7. And so basically when the water level drops below 4 tiles deep and the water pumps up here can't reach it, then there will still be water that funnels into this little pit here, and we'll be able to continue pumping it. So effectively we'll have access to all the water in here, but we'll rely on the workhorses at the top in order to get most of the water. And then we'll have the zipline stations go over here. We'll replace this one with this one right here. And then we'll also get a second one set up top so that the beavers and bots can easily get access to the water pumps up here. Oh no, I can't get rid of this platform. That means I probably can't add a sluice. Well, that is unfortunate. We'll have to get rid of all of this, and then we can go ahead and add it all back. And now that the drought is over, let's go ahead and get some more bots sent over to this district so we can throw them in some of these jobs. And we can also start unpausing some of these easier jobs. And so now we have only 1 unemployed beaver. And we can go ahead and toss them in here, so now we're pretty much set. Just got to get some more bots in these jobs. And so we can utilize the automatic immigration tool. We'll go ahead and bump this up to 10 now. Oh my gosh, we have so much wood. Looks like we are basically maxed out. Let's make some more storage for these guys. And it looks like we missed a path over here, so they couldn't reach any of this until now. And it does look like we're producing a fair amount of power. We're doing 1800 out of the 1100 we need. Oh, we have a lot of injured beavers in this district. We'll set up some more medical beds for them and make sure we high prioritize it. This seems to be the episode of injured beavers. We've had so many injured beavers. It feels like we've always been in the double digits. And so we'll utilize the storage method where we can actually just collect some of the logs that we dropped over here. And then we'll put them back in here. And then they can go ahead and immediately use it to construct the levees. And so we have almost lowered all of the dirt blocks over here. And then once that's done, we can go ahead and start getting some water placed into this area. Although we will need to replace these platforms with some levees, but first they need to have access to get in here. And so this is what I was thinking. First, let's go ahead and pause this. But this is what I was thinking for accessing the water at the very bottom. This will be set to close above downstream depth of 0.7. So the water will go all the way up to 0.7 tiles high on the second level. They'll be able to pump it, and then this will open up when the water level drops, and then water will be sucked through here on the backside. Now hopefully this doesn't suck up too much water that it causes some weird reverberations in the water and then there's flooding and such. But I think this should work okay. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think we'll be able to get to it in this episode, unfortunately, but I think we'll be able to see how this looks in the next episode. Although one of the downsides of the water going into here and being sucked up by these water pumpers is that it's going to be water that doesn't go through our power system over here. And so we'll be a little bit less efficient with these water wheels since there won't be as much flow going through here versus right now we have all the water pumpers downstream of this. But that is also why we are adding some water wheels up top so they can capture some of the power immediately. We'll probably do some more up in this area and over here as well. And in the second district, I do think I want to get a bot working in the bad water pump since we are pretty short on bad water overall. And then we do need to go ahead and upgrade some of these storages. We'll upgrade these first two right here. And you know what? We should just jump straight to getting a large tank set up. And since we have so much storage, we should go ahead and get another bad water pump set up. In fact, we can get a couple more set up. And we'll also set both of these jobs to bots. And so we'll need to make sure we have some more bots being immigrated into this district. Since we will have what looks like 8 jobs over here that are bots, plus a potential additional 10 jobs. And I only have it set to 6 for now. We are running a little bit low on scrap metal. Metal blocks overall are looking pretty good. But let's go ahead and bump that up to 8 and then send some more bots over here. And so as I wrap up placing all the dynamite over here, we can go ahead and get most of the area set up for the water to spill into this area. But we are not quite ready to have the water fill this up, so we'll leave a small little sliver that will basically be the barricade. And then when we do remove this, we will need to set some floodgates up. Although maybe we should set some sluices up because we really don't want to have too much water going into here. Because I think that the water elevation might actually overtop it. Since we do have these floodgates set up over here. Although we can go ahead and check. Yeah, so this looks like it's 1 level higher. We could actually raise all of this by 1. We would need to replace a couple of these, but I think that actually might be a good idea. Just so that we don't have to worry about flooding this whole, well, basically the whole colony over here. So that is unfortunate. I was a little bit premature getting this stuff set up. Oh no, the bots are going to trap themselves. Let's go ahead and pause some of these real quick. And that is where we're going to wrap up today's episode. We made fantastic progress on getting this super reservoir set up. And hopefully pretty soon in the next episode we can go ahead and get it unveiled and start filling it up with water. We probably have another 6 or 7 days of the wet season. And so we'll see if that will be enough time to fill this up for the most part. The second district is thriving. We have the mine up and running since we just finished collecting all the scrap metal. And then their production area is actually doing pretty well. And then the next step would be get some gravity batteries set up, and we could probably do some up here. And they have so much wood over here. We did recently unmark some of these trees to be chopped down, so hopefully they should be getting some more pine resin soon. Especially when some of these trees grow up and then start producing pine resin. So if you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and hit that like button. I really do appreciate it. It helps the channel out tremendously, and if you want to help the channel even more, consider becoming a channel member. And with that, we will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.